Hello there, guys, and welcome back to my channel for my live reaction and player ratings live stream following Chelsea 1, Brighton and Hove Albion 2. Or as I should say, the other way around, of course, Brighton and Hove Albion 2, Chelsea 1. We're out of the FA Cup. I'm showing you the wrong thing on screen, so everything's going absolutely brilliantly to plan. And honestly, guys, I'm very fed up. I am very, very fed up. I'm losing hope. I'm losing faith. I'm losing interest. I'm losing care. And I'm really, like, in a bad way upset. But I'm in a bad way upset where I'm like, I don't even know where to go. I don't even know what to say now. Like, I'm infuriated at how bad we are. Like, I put this on Twitter earlier. I denied it through December. I denied it through January. But we are truly going through exactly what Leicester City seemed to have experienced under Enzo Maresca last year. We are absolutely awful. We are absolutely awful. And we can say things like Joel says, striker. But it's way bigger than that right now. Like, we can't defend. We can't attack. We can't attack against low blocks. We can't attack against high-pressing teams. We can't attack against open teams. It doesn't matter who we play against. We don't know how to create chances, let alone how to take chances. And when Nicholas Jackson isn't there, we are completely screwed, as would the best proof again today. Imagine if Caicedo or Cucurella would also go. Not go by leave, but go in terms of get injured or be out for whatever reason. We might as well sign up for relegation. Like, it's genuinely unbelievable how bad we are. Like, we are so bad. Like, we'll get into the stats later. We had like 0. something XG, like one shot on target. Like, we had two real chances in this game. Two. One came at the very end through Enzo Fernandez. The other one was Nkunku being through on goal, but he decides to play in the circus instead of actually playing football and tries to do whatever he did to Palmer. We just got gifted a goal with Verbruggen, their goalkeeper, with one of the biggest goalkeeper howlers I've ever seen. And even that doesn't help at all. Doesn't help at all. Trevor Chalobah completely asleep to let Brighton get back into the game after Chalobah already kind of heads the ball away from Sanchez catching it. And in that second goal, oh my God. I mean, handball, yeah, it is handball. The commentators on ITV were telling us even VAR wouldn't have overruled it because it wasn't a player that scored and touched the ball with his hand and it was close distance, so they probably wouldn't have ruled it out. Who knows? But it's shocking defending anyway. We already got it cleared. Both goals we conceded today was goals where we cleared the ball and then conceded on the next ball into the box. Like, it's an absolute joke. And like Fantasy PGA Tour says, Nkunku does my head in, something different, mate. It's unbelievable. I don't think I've ever seen a lazier and more useless player in my entire life. Like, then there's moments where he runs all of a sudden. And then there's even people like, people complaining about how DP drops. And then there's people saying how Jackson does that. Mate, people, you need to watch football with a little bit of comprehension of what's going on. You can't just say this guy drops deep sometimes, so when this guy does it, it's also good. No, it needs to be the right moment to drop deep. We had Nkunku as the deepest of our attackers when we were trying to counterattack, and he weren't even running. I am absolutely furious. Even fucking Brighton are taking a piss out of us. That shows you how flipping bad it is. Brighton have every right to take the piss out of us. I mean, they had the right to boo nearly every player that was on our pitch, and we had Colwell on the bench still. I mean, they probably would have booed him, still from our academy, but even still, it's an absolute joke. We're basically Brighton, just in more shit. Like, don't forget, Brighton lost their last game 7-0. 7-0. I'm not saying we should also win 7-0 as well. No, I'm not saying that. But we shouldn't be losing. We should not be losing. And we should not be losing like this. Oh, my God. Yeah, I mean, these are just big questions that I have, and we can question it about all the individuals. Like Aziz, I want all the players out. We can say that. We can talk about the manager, which is kind of my main point today, which we'll get to. We can talk about the recruitment. Like, on the one hand, it doesn't even really matter because we're just fucked. we're just fucked. Like, we're the second transfer window in a row where we made our squad worse. Back-to-back transfer windows have made our squad worse. We have clear weaknesses in striker, in left-back now that Renato Vega has left, in midfield depth. And we just don't do anything about it. On the wing as well, because none of our wingers seem to be capable of doing anything useful on an even remotely regular basis. It's genuinely a bit of a joke. It's genuinely a bit of a joke at the moment. Joel says, when did we last win the league? Diego Costa before that. Costa and Drogba before that. Drogba and Anelka. Yeah, I mean, football is a bit different. I mean, City literally only have one striker. To be fair, they did have two last year, and look at them now that they only have one, I suppose. But I still think that makes it too simple. I still think that makes it way too simple to talk about oh, it's the striker, or we should have had a different striker. Because when Jackson plays, people have a go at Jackson. When Jackson doesn't play, we're like, oh, we're so terrible without Jackson. It's not that simple. If you'd get Haaland, we'd complain that he doesn't play with the ball more. If we'd have it would be like having Lukaku again. If we'd have Osimhen, we'd have that issue. If you'd sign, I don't know, bloody Gyökeres, we'd say, well, he looked clinical in the Portuguese league. Shit, he doesn't in the Premier League. I don't think that's the solution personally, but I understand everyone has their own things to kind of look at and pay mostly attention to. Fantasy PJ Door says technically we didn't even score, let alone 7. Yeah. No, exactly. To be honest, I think that goal should be a Cole Palmer goal because it was clearly going at goal. So I don't understand how that can possibly be a no goal, but no, you're not wrong. Roman would not have tolerated this. No, he wouldn't, but I've said this before. Roman would not have hired Enzo Maresca. Roman would not have hired Paul Winstanley or Laurenz Stewart. Roman Abramovich would not have signed 95% of this squad. So it's like, yes, Roman would never have tolerated this, but Roman would have not put us where we are right now. So there you go. Neto and Sanchez would be better if they had a scary striker, but defenses are not scared of our front line. No, they're not. Any of those strikers would be crap on this team. That's what I'm saying. Pochettino out, quit. A German sporting director quit. Felix, Vega, and a lot of other players too. Unfortunately, the problem is how the club is run. Again, it's a bit like, okay, everybody's quitting, making it a little bit simple, especially the Pochettino quitting thing. All those players, quite frankly. But, in principle, I still agree with you. Fantasy PGA Tour. Sancho is another one. Throwing my head in after looking reasonably promising previously. Yeah, it's frustrating because I've been quite full of praise for Jadon Sancho. Not necessarily saying that he's been the best in the world or particularly amazing, but he's been good and he's done a good job for the most part, I think. But then he plays games like today and you're like, what do you even do? You don't beat your man. You don't put a good cross in. You're not a goal threat. You don't help out enough defensively, really, even though he still tries. You don't on an outlet on a counter. You know what I missed today? Mykhailo Mudryk. And that tells you everything you need to know about how down bad we are. If I'm sat there watching a game of football and I'm like, I miss Mykhailo Mudryk. Just having a player where even if he's 95% not going to do it, he has that moment of magic in him, like Joao Felix does. That shooting technique, that power to actually do something. Mudryk can do that. Sancho isn't going to do that. Like, Sancho will do other things, but to not have the option, to now not have brought another option in, whatever the situation with Mudryk is, it's just a joke. We have a super chat by Ricky. Ricky, appreciate you very much. He says, who should replace Maresca? It's inevitable. Bah, it's a big question. I would usually, if this was a normal chat message, I would probably say, oh, I don't know, man. I don't know if this is what we need to discuss right now. But maybe it is. And also you donated, so thank you very much. And is it weird if I say Iraola from Bournemouth? The thing is, Iraola doesn't play football like we play football. Iraola kind of doesn't want to have the ball and wants to use transition, but he's incredibly good against top teams, though. I don't think we should get Iraola because I'm not sure he fits our squad and I'm not sure he fits how most teams play against us. But I wouldn't be surprised if he's someone we look at. And otherwise, I genuinely don't know, bro. Like, look at our manager's steps, right? We had Thomas Tuchel, got rid of him. Got Graham Potter, who was at least, an up-and-coming Premier League manager, won something in Sweden at least, did incredible things with Brighton, to be fair, right? We get rid after 6 months, 7 months, whatever it was. We put Lampard back in for 6 weeks, lose pretty much every game. Then we get a Spurs legend Pochettino. It was terrible at the beginning, and then it gets kind of good. We have a strong end to the season. Unlucky not to get Europa League because, City bought the FA Cup final. We sack Poch, get Maresca in. It works out at the beginning, and now we're just experiencing the exact same thing they experienced. Now, obviously, the season is still long, right? We can still get better, and I'm still confident that we will get better eventually. Don't get me wrong. I still think that will happen. Maresca, presumably still staying until the end of the season. But it does worry me that at the moment, like I said, we can't really break down the low block. And now playing against Brighton, even though they did sit sometimes in a low block, we can't even break down a team like Brighton, who we ran absolute rings around earlier in the season. Like, we don't know how to counterattack anymore. We don't know how to pass it quick anymore. We don't know how to be direct anymore. We don't know how to evade pressure anymore. We don't know how to actually create. It's a bit of a joke. It's frankly a bit of a joke, but I don't have this direct answer. I mean, someone said here, Allegri, free contract readily available. You can say that, God of Frogs, but it's not going to happen. This Chelsea ownership are not going to get Massimiliano Allegri, but there you go. We have another super chat, though, which I need to get to by Elekan. Thank you very much for the £5 donation. He says, there's so much wrong with Chelsea. Aside from Parma, have Chelsea bought any players since these new owners and improved them? Ooh, I was going to say, I thought you were going to kind of lead to, we haven't signed anyone good other than Parma, and I would very much at least put Moises Caicedo in there. Because Moises Caicedo also today was one of the only few somewhat acceptable players on the pitch. Cucurella obviously has his moments, has his days. But in the grand scheme of things, you're not wrong. Like, Jackson has improved. I think we can factually all agree that Jackson has improved. Well, the last month and a half, less so. But if you go back to like November and you compare Nicholas Jackson in November 2024 to when we signed him in summer of 2023, obviously that's a significant improvement. But the problem is it doesn't feel like we do anything particular to improve those players. It's just, okay, we sign young players and young players naturally get better. I genuinely feel that. So thank you very much for the donation. But there's not many, bro. There's really not many, Elekan. There really isn't. I think Caicedo needs help in mid too. He can't do it all. I mean, he tries his bloody socks off to do it all. I agree Mudryk would have made a difference. Yeah, like I say, he probably would have done today. Can't get behind missing Mudryk. Have to say, fair enough. You little hater. Elegant. Caicedo, Enzo, Fofana, there are a number. Did Fofana improve since coming to Chelsea? Oh, I don't know about that one, mate. 95% of the time he's just spending trying to recover from being injured. I'm not sure if that's improving. And has Enzo Fernandez improved? Yeah, maybe a little bit. Maybe a little bit. But yeah, I'm still not 100% sure whether Elekan meant, did we sign any good players that improved us? Or did we sign any players that we improved? I'm still not 100% sure what he meant. It's a discount, but yeah, I know. But he's doing great things with Bournemouth. And I think that's what these sporting directors and owners will end up going after. Like, again, I'm not saying Iraola specifically, but teams and managers that do well elsewhere. I wouldn't be surprised if we tried to get Eddie Howe out of Newcastle, if I'm being honest. I wouldn't even be surprised if we tried to get Unai Emery out of Aston Villa, if I'm honest. And otherwise, I don't know. Like, we've slowly taken steps backwards. Are we going to get a League One manager next? We might do. We might do. Hello, Amit. Appreciate you tuning in. He says, Sancho and Neto both need a striker. Then they used to this false nine and drop it deep, drifting out wide, or offside BS from Jackson and Nkunku. Yeah, but I just think there's a problem in that already, because how can you say Nkunku and Jackson do the same thing? They don't even remotely do the same thing. That's part of the problem. You see how much better we are with Jackson. We still don't score enough, but we're clearly a lot better with Jackson. But no, absolutely. Sancho and Neto both needs more box presence, more goal presence, more of a, like I say, a presence. It doesn't all need to be in the air. It doesn't all need to be, Drogba and scoring 50,000 headers, or Chris Wood or Peter Crouch. It doesn't need to be that. But it needs to be more than what we have now. It needs to be someone that has natural striker movement. It needs to be someone that can physically, hold up against, even when he has to play against the back three, be somewhat good in the air, have a little bit of timing, man. Because what we're doing at the moment is frankly a joke. Lee says, we go as far as Palmer goes. He doesn't look right mentally, almost playing like he's fed up and checking out. Yeah, he does look fed up a little bit at the moment. And honestly, I understand it completely. Like, he played that pass to Nkunku. Nkunku didn't even run after it. And Nkunku is then moaning at him, oh, you played the pass behind me. I'm like, bro, fucking chase the ball, you stupid dimwit. Do you know what I mean? It pisses me the fuck off saying that. Palmer's going to get fed up and leave for big money. We've got until the January transfer window next season if we're lucky to turn things around to keep him. I mean, he signed like an eight-year contract, so I wouldn't be that concerned about that right now. But yeah, I said this the other day. What happens when Palmer gets to 26, 27? Do we just sell him because he's now too old? Could be. Do you know what I mean? That's all I'm saying. There's a lot of messages in the chat, so I see what you guys are saying. Sancho and Neto both had 0% cross success. Got to have more bodies in the box to get on the end of stuff. Jackson and Nkunku don't do the same stuff, but neither do the stuff we expect from a striker. Yeah. At least we need a different profile of striker. I still don't have a problem with having Jackson and Jackson being our main guy. We just need a different option to make it, to change it up when something isn't working in a game, and also to make it more difficult for the opponent to we do something different. Yeah. Although I would not give Sancho and Neto the excuse of 0% cross success only being due to not having good strikers in the box. Their crossing is also absolutely woeful. Like we usually speak about Neto's crossing being his one good attribute or one of his couple of good attributes. My God, his crossing was absolutely shocking today. No matter who the striker would have been, he's absolutely shocking at crossing today. So that's all we can do. We just passed the ball with no purpose. Literally. Did you say anything else, Amit? No, I don't think so. I mean, bloody hell. I need to, like, if I open the lineup sheet that we had today, right? That in and of itself pissed me off. Like, let's look at this lineup that we turn up with today, right? Let me make this a little bit bigger for you guys. Sanchez was back in goal. Does that mean Jurgensen is the Premier League goalkeeper now and Sanchez plays in the Cup? I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised if Sanchez plays again next Friday. When we play Brighton again. Can't I wait for that? Gusto in the team. Not surprising, but the way he's performing, I'd rather see Achapong. I'll be perfectly honest. Tosin Chalobah, sure. Cucurella, also sure. Caicedo, fine. Needs to play every game. We know, because we didn't buy a replacement and Lavia is never fit. And then I see Dewsbury all start, and I already start to get terrified. Not that I wasn't already terrified from seeing Robert Sanchez being in goal. Neto, fine. Didn't want Mudryk to start. Palmer, Sancho, honestly, was surprised by that. That they both... No, I wasn't surprised by that, if I'm honest. And Christopher Nkunku started up front. I had a little bit of hope that Maresca might do something different and play maybe Palmer up front. Not that I think Palmer up front necessarily works, but I think anything is better than playing Nkunku up front. Having Nkunku up front is like playing with 10 men. And honestly, the way Palmer was playing today was also like playing with 10 men. So maybe if he was the striker, there would have been at least something in there. But my God, it was just woeful. And then you look at the bench. Right? You have Colwell, Anselmino, and Achimpong. 3 centre-backs. Okay, Colwell, somewhat serious. Anselmino never played. Isn't even in a Conference League squad, so clearly I have a lot of trust in him, don't we? Achimpong, right-back, centre-back. Samuel Smith, a left-back who's never played for the first team. Amugu, the new signing, who Maresca's even said we're not planning to use him a lot. All of a sudden on the bench, never trained 2 times, 3 times, and never played Premier League or any relevant minutes at any relevant level of football. Enzo Fernandez, okay, he came on, but was useless. George came on, was useless. Mudryk came on, was useless. I mean, the squad, the bench, the fact that, like, how can you choose to let Joao Felix go? How can you choose not to sign a striker? You look at this bench, like, we've spent over £1.5 billion. Over 1.5 billion. 9 millions at the end. 9 millions. 9 zeros at the end. That's wild. Well, actually, it's 8 zeros, but you get the point, right? And look at this bench. Remember when we were sat here last summer, like, we have this insane squad depth and we have 2 players for every position. Mate, in some positions, we don't even have one half-decent player now. It's an absolute joke. It's an absolute joke. And we have another super chat. Elikan says, Cucurella was left back of the season at Brighton. We went into bidding wars with the biggest clubs in Europe for many of our players. They get worse with us. Yeah. I mean, bidding war, it wasn't direct bidding war for Cucurella, but yeah, no, you have a point, absolutely. But I still think Caicedo is an exception from that. Caicedo was obviously already fantastic at Brighton, but I think Caicedo has taken another significant step at Chelsea as well. Caicedo is the one exception, in my opinion. But otherwise, no, you're not wrong. Like, no one has really gone leaps and bounds, have they? And again, Elikan, thank you very much for the super chat. More music says, unfortunately, you have to be a yes man to get the manager's job this day and age. Well, certainly at this football club you do. And I think that's also the problem with finding managers. Like, I've said this many times. In an ideal world, obviously, these sporting directors would hire a manager who has the same vision for the squad as the sporting directors do. But either that manager doesn't exist, or we're just incapable of finding him, because so much of what's going on, like Maresca is claiming that he wanted to sign Joao Felix, even though I know for a fact that he didn't. Otherwise, you wouldn't have gotten rid of him again now. I know for a fact that he wanted a striker. I know for a fact that he wanted a midfielder. That wasn't Amugu. It's a joke at the moment, and he's playing along. He's almost playing along too nicely. Yeah, we will get good, but it's hard right now. I mean, I don't know when we're... Excuse me. Why am I repping Kai Havertz, please? Where have you seen that? No Kai Havertz anywhere to be seen around me. But yes, I did used to like Kai Havertz, and I regret my decisions. Same as was that Shai Havertz? Shai Havertz what? What are you lot talking about? I'm confused. Anyway, Turn your cam off. Oh, this me and Lewis share a StreamYard account, and he uses funny pictures. Now it's the usual again. My apologies. Thanks for that. No, piss off with Kai Havertz. Lewis ruined everything. Yeah, the squad is average now, and it's kind of crazy. I don't even like this RC, but it's better than Tosin. I don't know, man. I think that's a bit harsh. But anyway, look at the bench. Hello, NPCs. Literally. Neto is not trash. He's one of our most exciting players. Yeah, but whether you now think he's trash or not, let's take that out of the equation for a second. But Joe, Neto being one of our most exciting players is the problem. Like he was like decent at Fulham, at Wolves. He was decent. He scored 8-9 goals at best. If that's the most exciting player at Chelsea Football Club, you know where the problem lies, man. You know where the flipping problem lies. What should we do to make our voices heard? Mate, honestly, I don't know, because I don't think we have enough shared voices at the moment. Like, some people blame it all on the striker, some people blame it all on the manager, some people blame it all on the sport directors. Now, the biggest deal is most certainly the sport directors and Bedat Igbali, who is the main person in charge. And there was reports, obviously, there is still a power struggle going on at Chelsea that we had like early back in September time. And there will eventually probably be some sort of fight for the ownership of Chelsea, and it will eventually be either Bowley or Igbali/Clearlake. But as of now, it's still both, and that's part of the problem. But the problem is almost one level below. I think the big problem is the sport directors, because like these people were hired. Now, Igbali micromanages too much. Igbali tries to get involved too much, probably because things are not going well. If things were going better, I would assume Igbali would also be involved less, but I could be wrong, right? But they hired people who are supposed to know about football, and because I still think they don't really think of themselves as knowing about football, which they don't, but so that's why they almost don't go against what these people say, but they're the big problem. They're the big problem. Elika comes with another super chat, bro. I appreciate you very, very much. He says, Maresca is limited. The fact he can't get Nkunku, Felix, and Palmer playing together shows how limited he is as a manager. Guardiola would. Oh, I'm not sure about that, bro. I'm really not sure about that. I mean, if you're saying two of them, I agree, because he already couldn't get two of them playing together. But three of them, I don't think any good manager does that. Not because, well, you can argue, can it work, can it not? But I don't think any good, well-balanced team has three of those types of players, because, yeah, I mean, Nkunku is a second striker, which, frankly, Nkunku just shouldn't play at all unless he was a second striker, which he's not. So it's kind of pointless. Yeah, but I still don't fully disagree with you. Maresca is limited, and that's kind of one of my biggest worries right now. Let me get FODMOB up, and we look at some of these stats that we turn up with today, because, my God. Look at these stats, guys. We had 0.65 XG. 0.65. And again, this was the type of team where the last few weeks would have made us think, okay, at least we're not playing a low block. Maybe we'll be a bit better here. And now we had the lowest XG we probably had in weeks and months. Yeah, no. No. Gabriel, I'm on board with criticizing Maresca today. I'm doing the same today, but we can't be doing that. It was obviously not Maresca that wanted to sign Dewsbury. Otherwise, he wouldn't have played him basically never for the entirety of the first half of the season. And it's also certainly not Maresca that decided, I don't want a striker. Trust me on that. If we lose to Brighton, again, Maresca out. Fed up with left back and right back inverting. But the weird thing is, Vincent, and that's the really weird thing today, they didn't today. That's what kind of ruins it. Sorry, I don't know why it left that. I had it prepared and open. Because if we go to the lineups and our average positions today, guys, look at this. We didn't do inverting fullbacks today. I mean, sometimes we did it a bit on the left and sometimes we did it a bit on the right. But frankly, we played a bit more of a basic 4-3-3 almost. Kind of. So, like, I agree with you. But you saw Gusto overlapping on a couple of occasions. His crossing was just absolutely shit every single time. And Cucurella with the same on the left. So I agree, but not the right criticism today. Not for me anyway. Got a Frog says, sporting directors need to be replaced. Let's just have one person leading it. Someone who is a proven world-class. Owners also need to take a look in the mirror as well. No, 100% agree, bro. I couldn't have said it better myself, really. This is exactly like the City game carbon copy, and my thoughts then are the same thoughts now. We don't look like we're able to do anything up front, and we get past midfield and then brain blank. Yeah, you're not wrong. The problem is City are City, and this is Brighton who lost 7-0 in their last game. That's what makes it so much more concerning. Bloody Elecan. I appreciate you. You have all the money. City at their peak play with all attacking mids and only Rodri holding. Silva, Foden, De Bruyne, Doku, Grealish. Good managers get good players playing. Yeah, yes, but this does include Kevin De Bruyne and Thiago and Bernardo Silva, which, that's kind of how, like, Enzo Fernandez. I'm not saying he's at all like Bernardo Silva or De Bruyne or even Foden, but you don't have all clear out and out attacking players. Like Bernardo Silva has played centre mid, De Bruyne has played centre mid, even Phil Foden has played centre mid. So yeah. Like I say, I see what you're saying. Please don't mistake me. I know what you're saying, but I just think all three is taking it a little bit of a level too far, because it shouldn't be all like I don't even know why anybody thinks Nkunku has any sort of warranty to be in any team. Honestly, I think he'd be lucky to get a championship contract right now. He's so bad. Like, he's lazy, he's useless. He's a waste of space and a waste of time. I can't even get on board with how much of a horror show Christopher Nkunku has had this season, and mainly since November time. It's utterly embarrassing. Gabriel says, I think Maresca asked for Dewsbury to be signed. No. That's absolutely not true, bro. I absolutely guarantee that is not true. My theory, and this part, I don't know that it's guaranteed to be true. I can guarantee that it's not Maresca. Take my word for it or not, up to you, of course. But take it. But my theory has always been Leicester only let us have Maresca if we agree to sign one of their homegrown players to give them pure profit, and then we decided on Dewsbury. I don't think it had a single thing to do with Maresca, especially not that Dewsbury one. Trust me on that. But yeah, so weird kind of formation today. Almost a centre back two, Caicedo in front of them. Like I say, almost a 4-3-3 in a way, which is kind of strange. I mean, that's how I saw it first and foremost. Like, obviously, like this, it's almost like a 4-1-4-1. If they're a bit higher, it's a 4-3-3. So think of it however you want to. But what we can say for sure is it didn't flip and work, did it? That's what we can say for sure. I mean, let's start with the goalkeeper. Again, I'm still not really sure what I make of the goalkeeper situation. We'll see next Friday who starts in the next game against Brighton in the Premier League. Because, frankly, if Sanchez is back in goal, I can't believe what's happening. I really can't believe what's happening. But yeah, look at these stats before we do the individuals. Like I said, 0.65 XG compared to Brighton 0.92. Even if there was blatant handball in the build-up by Tariq Lamptey, and maybe that goal shouldn't have stood. But we had only one shot on target, man. We had 0 big chances. Oh, my God. It's diabolical. It's so bad. Like, look at this. Nothing from a set play. No free kick. No corner. Nothing useful. How many corners did we even have? Does it say that anywhere? It must say it somewhere. Oh, yeah. 3 corners. Well, it's not a lot, is it? But they committed 8 fouls now. Sure, a lot of them were nowhere near close to our goal. But to have 0 XG from set plays, terrible. Absolutely terrible. Joe Barder has become a member for 25 months. Appreciate you, Joe. You're my guy. We have to admit, Laurenz rules. 25 months. Woo! I appreciate you guys. I appreciate all of you guys getting involved today. I guess this is how it goes. Chelsea lose. We start to lose our minds and everybody gets involved again. Elegan with another super chat. And Nkunku was player of the season in the Bundesliga and in 2021 with Haaland and Lewandowski in the league. Bayern wanted him in January. Oh, I mean, but Bayern didn't want him that badly, did they? And I'm not saying Nkunku wasn't great. He was in the Bundesliga and at the time. But the problem was, then we signed him in November 2022. He signed that deal for summer 2023. Does his knee in, misses the World Cup, has a significant knee injury. Is semi-fit going into preseason, gets injured in the last preseason game, misses essentially the entirety of the season. And now has spent this first 6 months of the season playing Conference League and PT minutes. You're going to digress like that, bro. You're going to, players digress. 2 big injuries, 2 seasons of big injuries, plus little, game time. plus little faith. And the biggest factor, Christopher Nkunku is a very specific player, a very talented player. Don't get me wrong. Very clinical, good dribbling, good at, getting through in tight situations. But his position is being a second striker. That's why he was so great at RB Leipzig when he was playing off of Andre Silva, the Portuguese striker, or off of Yusuf Poulsen, the Danish striker. When he was playing off of those guys, it was working. But for us, with the space that Chelsea are provided in the Premier League, it just doesn't work for him. And it's one thing to, the system doesn't suit you so well. You're struggling a little bit. Jackson is struggling at the moment. Jackson is missing chance after chance after chance. Can't get a goal. Hasn't scored in 8 games. But you watch Jackson play and you see him trying. You see him running. You see him defending. You see him pressing. You see him making things happen. You see him fighting for the ball. You see him trying to put players in. You see him never sulking. And then you look at Nkunku. It's not bothered to run. We're counter-attacking and I see him jogging at the halfway line. Sancho is running. Dewsbury Hall is running. Palmer's running. Neto is running. And I see Nkunku jogging. How is that acceptable? It's just absolutely unacceptable. Werner was great in the Bundesliga too. There you go. Lukey says, we're relying too much on Palmer. Yeah. No, I mean, 100%. 100%. Our past 3 games, our goals have come through pure luck. City, West Ham, Brighton. I'm getting worried if we can actually create a proper team goal and dominate games. I can't remember the goal we scored against West Ham, which is not ideal, but I can't. Sorry, bro. But you're 100% right against City and against Brighton, of course. So, I'll give you a point. Absolutely. I'll give you a point. Do you remember when we beat, was it Bournemouth away and Nkunku had his best? The winner, that player has gone. Yeah, but even in that game, he only came off the bench for 10 minutes, 15 minutes, and he had one fantastic moment, a little bit of luck as well. That was great. And I still think he could provide that today. I think if you bring him on late in the game, he can get you a goal because he's a good finisher. But when you start him, especially when you start him up front, my God, you might as well stay at home. Sorry ball versus Maresca ball. What's the difference? Well, sorry ball was a lot better for me. But there you go. As for Sanchez, I want to highlight this one. 35% long ball accuracy. I mean, honestly, we got to a point today where it felt like he was just punting it. He was just punting it for the sake of it. Left foot, right foot, punting it here, punting it there. Doing absolutely nothing. The first goal, as much as it's Chalobah's error for letting Rutter go and kind of losing him out of sight after clearing the first one, it's terrible communication. Sanchez should have communicated that he was trying to claim that ball, and then Chalobah should have stayed away. Did he communicate it and Chalobah didn't stay away? We will never know. But yeah, it wasn't fantastic, was it? Sanchez, I'll give him, I don't think it was at fault. I'll give him like a 5.5. How did we go from Sanchez to, anyway, Malagusta? My God, he's awful now. I don't know how this happened. Lost the most duels in the match, which is just a great stat. 1 out of 10 ground duels. I mean, that's just flipping brilliant. And even when he's attacking now, his crossing is awful. Attempted 2, both woeful. 0 out of 3 dribbles. I mean, bloody hell, he was absolutely terrible. Couldn't defend, couldn't attack, slowed every attack down when he was involved. Diabolical. 3. Tosin didn't look great on that second goal. I will be honest, didn't look great, but I still think he otherwise seemed the most assured of the lot. So yeah, but I mean the duels is again absolutely woeful. I'll give him a 5 just because. I'll give him a 4.5. Give him a 4.5. And then move on to Trevor Chalobah. I mean, just for that mistake for the goal, that was the goal that brought them back in. I'll give him a 4. I'll give him a 4, something like that. Oh, Elliot, come with another super chat. My guy, appreciate you. He says, I guess my point is we sign good players and we have good players. It's the board to keep signing limited managers who are yes men. That is wrong. Yeah. I mean, it's so hard for me. Because I think it's too simple. Like the second, like we get a manager who's obviously very inexperienced, right? Who's very inexperienced. And that's why it has a very short CV. But the one full season he did do, he won the league. Now, he wasn't pretty, and we're experiencing very similar issues to what they experienced. But I think if we give our young players a chance to develop, we maybe need to also give Maresca a chance to develop. That's my concern. I'm losing faith in him a little bit. Absolutely. That's why I said it's on the thumbnail and in the title. I'm losing faith. Because I don't see him doing much. We have full weeks of training at the moment. Nothing is improving. We have full weeks to prepare. I know we have a few injuries, but man, everyone has injuries. Everyone other than Liverpool has serious injuries. Just you need to make things happen. You need to find a way. And at the moment, he's just not finding a way. But I still think it's a little bit too simple to say, oh, the players are good. It's just the manager shit. Because I just think it's a bit too easy. That's all I'm saying. Like, I think to say, oh, if only we had a good player, a good manager, then we'd be amazing. I really don't think our squad is quite at that point. Sorry. Scumbag, if he said that. Who said what? Pys just tweeted this, Maresca. If there's a positive after defeat, so we can focus on the Premier League and Conference League. Did he say that? I'm fuming if you said that, by the way. I looked this up right now, guys. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I think he's just killed himself at Chelsea with this. If there's a positive after defeat, it's that we can focus on the Premier League and Conference League. That's disgraceful. Do you know where you're working, bro? It's Chelsea Football Club. We are trophies. Winning trophies is what we do. Wow. This is Graham Potter or worse level. Wow. Really? Like, really? I get looking for positives, but this, man. Wow. I am fuming. I'm absolutely fuming with that. Joel says, Isri's injured. We don't know. Supposedly he picked up a knock. Wasn't a comment yesterday, at least yesterday morning. Again, make of that what you will. Is it just a knock that's like a contact knock and is fine in 2-3 days and back next week? We don't know. We'll find out. We had a press conference that was a whole 4 minutes long, so we didn't find out anything. I just want to see what you guys are reacting. I miss Poch. Is there an update on Jackson and Gio injuries? We know Gio will be out for a while. Jackson, I personally think will play again next Friday, but we'll see. I can't decide if the worst part of this game is that we have no quality bench, we have no drive or mentality. 2-1 at 60 minutes, and we are playing like we are ahead. So damn slow. Yep, that's ridiculous. Maresca still thinks he's the manager of Leicester to say such a stupid thing. Yeah, literally. Wrong kind of mentality. The players will lower to this level. That John Polly kind of thing to say, yeah, absolutely. And that's just what he's doing left, right, and centre at the moment. Like, first with the we're not ready for a title race, which, yes, he was right about it. But did he have to say it publicly that way 15 times? I don't think so. And then the next thing was there came a point where he said that the club wasn't even asking for top 4 this season. They're like literally asking to drop and drop and drop. I mean, our coach isn't, yes, man, he wants a striker, but the sport directors didn't want to give him. Well, yeah, but the problem is he accepts that. And now in the press conference, he said there, no, I wanted to sign Joao Felix last summer. No, I'm very happy with every signing and all the business we did in January. That's more what people talk about. Obviously, he wants more in the back, but there you go. I was fine with Maresca, but come on, what is he doing? Saying, yeah, it's a bit of a joke. It's an absolute joke. Yeah, I mean, I did say I'll give Sanchez a 5.5. We'll get through that. Obviously, more focus on other things today. I'll give Gusto a 3 because he was diabolical. 1 out of 10 ground duels is just unacceptable. I'll give Tosin a 4.5. I'll give Chalobah a 4. Cucurella, I'll give Cucurella a 5. I think it was better than the other lot. I'm dropping Sanchez to a 5 as well, by the way, because why not? Just because I don't like him. I give Cucurella a 5. We can look at Cucurella's stats in a minute. Elikon with another super chat. My guy, you are getting involved today. Let the manager develop how long? Manchester United, Arsenal, 1 minute you're at the top, then you go 20 years without winning the league. No, 100%, bro. I'm not saying we should do that. That was my issue when we first hired Enzo Maresca. The problem is then when you do hire a manager like that, it's like when you sign a 20-year-old and expect him to be Messi tomorrow or Drogba tomorrow. It's not going to be. But you see it with Arteta as well. Like, obviously, there's issues with Arsenal and they're kind of bottling a little bit, but bottling at a higher level than we are right now. And at the beginning, it was looking even far worse than it is for us right now. So, again, I'm not saying that means we should now stick with Maresca for 5 years and everything, but that has its benefits as well. Like, we go through this every season. Like, we go through this no matter who the manager is when you think about it. Think about it clearly, Elikon. No matter who the manager has been, But it was Maurizio Sarri, started well, got bad, finished better. Then we went to Mauricio Conte. Yes, we won the league, but started terribly, then turned it around, won 13 games in a row, then kind of just slugged it out because we had the players that were able to do that. Hazard, Diego Costa, says Fabregas, Kante, Matic, John Terry at the back. Big players that we still had around to see things through. Second Conte season, same issues. Literally same issues. All of a sudden, couldn't attack anymore, couldn't score goals anymore. Same problems. You go to Thomas Tuchel, he only took over in the middle of the season. It was fantastic until after the Champions League, and then we start the next season really well, and then we get through into autumn of Tuchel's second season, and the same issues start happening. We all of a sudden can't score anymore. We don't play proper football anymore, and it's just a cycle that keeps repeating themselves with completely different players, with completely different managers, under different ownerships. The same issues keep happening. But the problem is, we are a club that we are so used to constantly sacking managers. We don't even really know the benefits of when you stick to a manager. And that's why I understand why so many Chelsea fans are so hesitant of wanting to do that. And I am too, because I'm like, yeah, it's all well and good to say in 5 years we could be great, but we might not be. And then we've just wasted 4 or 5 years for absolutely no reason. So, yeah, it's... so like I say, I agree with you. We shouldn't have time to develop a manager. But then when you get an inexperienced manager, it's almost silly not to expect the necessity for that. So there you go. Don't forget, Conte sold Diego Costa. That was a huge issue. Yeah, of course it was. Of course it was. But there was also, Diego Costa in that 15-16 season was here and was also terrible. Like, there you can see, even with a great striker that we can all agree is a great striker, you can have a shit season. That's how it goes sometimes. And that isn't excusing anything. But yes, like rich money makers, the sport directors are the issues. Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Elikan again, by the way. Shout out you. I think that was your 4th or 5th super chat. Appreciate that a lot. Let me get to just to quickly look through what Cucurella actually did. Good passing. Okay, no dribbles. 2 out of 3 tackles is decent. 4 to 6 round duels. Yeah. Now, you know what? I'll actually give Cucurella, I'll actually give Cucurella a 6. I'll give Cucurella a 6. And Elikan, I'll get to your super chat in half a second. I just want to get to Moises Caicedo because he's the one and only player that I'm remotely okay and happy with today. Good passing, 93%, only 6 misplaced. You can't complain with that. Had a successful dribble, 6 out of 9 long balls. One of them should have been an assist for Nkunku, but Nkunku decided to go to the circus instead. 4 out of 8 tackles is decent. 11 out of 14 ground duels is absolutely fucking unbelievable. That is wild, guys. What? Bloody hell. Caicedo does crazy things. Like I say, I'll give Cucurella maybe a 5.5, not quite 6. And I'll give Caicedo is 7.5 too high? I think in between a 7 and a 7.5. You guys tell me what you think. I need to get to Elikan Super Chat. £10, bro. Appreciate it. He says, these owners haven't signed a world-class experienced manager. We had Enrique, Hansi Flick wanting to sign. We wanted young, inexperienced managers in previous ownerships. We won. I agree, except with one thing. The problem is we didn't have Enrique and we didn't have Hansi Flick wanting to sign. The problem is they didn't want to sign. Well, with Hansi Flick, it's less clear, but with Enrique, there was contact. And it was not Chelsea that said no. It was not Chelsea that said no. It was Enrique that had demands. It was Enrique that wasn't being the yes man, and then Chelsea said no. Or Enrique said no to, well, if you're not going to give me this and this power, then I'm not coming. So whichever way you want to look at it, but Enrique had his demands, and Chelsea weren't willing to meet them. As for Hansi Flick, this is a bit of a weird one, a bit of a different one. I don't think so. He wanted to sign in principle. But once we told him how things were going to go at Chelsea, he didn't want to sign anymore. That's my information, but also obviously this is a little while ago now, so please excuse me if this could be wrong. But we should be getting 4 more experienced managers. The only problem that I'd have with it is even with the old ownership, we were going through so many of the elite managers, we were always eventually going to run out of the elite managers. That's why we had to start bringing managers back, like Jose Mourinho. You know what I mean? Like, how many elite managers are there available? Like, you can go for Inzaghi. You can go for Allegri. Is Allegri still a top manager? Up for debate, especially with how football has developed. But I hear it. I hear it, bro. And I appreciate you. Joe says, mate, got some spare money to send my way, mate? YouTube is taking a big enough chunk already. Sorry, bro. So Enrique, these top guys would sign, but the owner or we don't want to give them their ways. Yes, that's exactly it. That's exactly it. For better or for worse, I think we've also experienced at Chelsea how this can have bad consequences. You look at Jose Mourinho, how we lost Juan Mata because Jose didn't really get on with Mata, which is weird because Jose then went to United and kept Mata for years and years and years. Still weird. The same with Mo Salah. Would Mo Salah have become that player that he became had he stayed at Chelsea? Probably not. But there's also issues when you give the manager too much power. You had that with Antonio Conte a little bit, to an extent, even with Thomas Tuchel, certain players that he wanted to sign, you're like, sorry, what? Do you know what I mean? But there you go. Atlantean, I'm going to call it, could be wrong, says, what good are those Caicedo stats when he is useless when we have to defend? Opponents always run past him, and he has zero impact when we have to defend in tight spaces. Ooh, okay. This is an interesting call. Now, I think you're being unfair to Caicedo here. Because, again, we've looked at the duel stats, 11 out of 14. You can't be telling me they run past him every time if he's 11 out of 14 ground duels and dribble past once. Like, your conclusions don't really make sense with what we saw. Like, there's some games where I will maybe agree with this, what you said, but not today. Not today. But that's me. You know, again, you can have your own opinion, of course, but from my perspective, I think that's stretching it a little bit. But yeah, maybe I'll give Caicedo a 7, not a 7.5. Dewsbury, honestly, I kind of want to give him an NA. Absolute waste of space, as he always is. Not bad passing, obviously, but we just kept it so simple. There wasn't anything to it. 0 out of 2 long balls, 0 out of 1 shot, total of 6 ground duels. Just bad, just average, just simply not good enough. And as for not good enough, Cole Palmer is also very much in that mode. Why have I got hiccups now? Elekan just gave me too much money. Just gave me too much money. I can't. My body can't hack it. I've got the hiccups. Caicedo wins his duels in the opposition half, which is where he was his best moments in games. But we don't have the ball. He does feel out of place, in my opinion. I mean, there's some games where I agree with this, but not in a game like today when he was so clearly playing as the single 6 and not even with a full back 3 behind him. Like David says, take Caicedo out and we lose 5-1. Kind of that. I feel for KDH, he's not Chelsea quality. Yeah, he isn't. Absolutely not. Elika with another £10 super chat. My guy, you're making me rich today, bro. Appreciate it. He says, so let's get an elite manager and stick with him. We've signed 3 managers that aren't elite, and how is it going? Let's get an elite manager, give him time and some power. Winning is what matters. I mean, bro, I'd be on board. I mean, please give me a suggestion of which elite manager you'd like. The one I'd still like most is Thomas Tuchel, but number 1, he's now England manager. And number 2, well, he hates our owners. Bring back Michel, for wingers are bad. Yeah, if only we could just bring him back, right? Asa or Asa. But yeah, which Poch was an elite manager. Oh, we're in big trouble if you would think that. But yeah, Elekan, who is that elite manager? Because for me, it's not Allegri. For me, it's not even Luis Enrique. Like, yeah, he's managed a big club, but he's also been absolutely terrible at other places. He was successful at Barca, was absolutely woeful at Roma. Kind of on and off with PSG. Obviously, there's now things are going a bit better and stuff, but it's the French league, man. These lot don't even have a broadcaster. Like, they're so in the mud. PSG have billions, and the others don't even have million. Do you know what I mean? It's a serious issue. What elite manager is there? Like, you're not going to get Klopp. You're not going to get Pep. And then what? Like, would Unai Emery class in that category for you? Would you bring back Carlo Ancelotti, who seems a bit outdated nowadays? I mean, Hansi Flick, sure, but he's now at Barcelona. You're not just going to get him. Bloody hell. Yeah, literally. Elekan, get involved. We might just buy Chelsea and do it ourselves. Bloody hell. Like, yeah, bro, I agree with you, and I could not agree with you more. I just don't have the clear answer, like, okay, let's get this guy. But I also just don't think they're going to do it. I just don't think they're going to do it. Like, if they get rid of Maresca, I think they're going to get someone even less credible. That's what I think. But yeah, as for Cole Palmer, just wasn't good today. Had that one kind of moment. I think it was this one where he kind of got something on it, but not enough, and put it way wide. Should have been better. This was a shot early in the game where arguably that should have been a bit more. in that finish. Like I say, 4th minute. It's early in the game, but could be better. Just wasn't his day. But it's often not his day recently. 1 out of 3 shots, 1 out of 2 dribbles, 2 out of 3, 0 out of 2 crosses, 2 out of 6 long balls. It's not really happening, is it? It's not really happening. Let's quickly jump back over to the ratings page and quickly get that done. KDH. I'm not giving him a 3 like Gusto because it wasn't quite that terrible, but it was still terrible. And Cole Palmer. I really don't know what rating to give Cole Palmer, to be honest. I kind of want to give him a 4 as well, if I'm honest. Kind of. But yeah, there you go. Guys, we have an issue again. I need to go to the toilet, and there's no stopping it. I need to go now. So if you want to, if you're great, stick with me. I'll be back in a few minutes. I'm sorry. No, I didn't, thankfully. But it was bloody close. That's why I had to go. I'm sorry, guys. 66 of you stuck with me here. I appreciate you. I appreciate you a lot. Be a professional and change your pants after the stream. I wish it was that simple. I wish it was that simple. Nah, bro. I had to. There was no way to do anything different. Okay. The fives, I assume they were still for Cole Palmer. I'm not sure. I'll give Cole a bit more than Dewsbury Hall because I just can't get it. Can't get myself to give him the same low rating. Honestly, no, I changed my mind. I'll give Dewsbury Hall also a 3. I'll give Palmer a 4. Give him a 3.5, just because he was maybe a bit better than Gusto. But we need these guys deserve low ratings. And the next one that deserves a low rating, Jadon Sancho. Like I said, we discussed this much earlier in the stream, where I was already saying essentially the same thing. I was very happy and I was very full of praise for Jadon Sancho for a good while. Even recently. But when he plays a game like today, what do you do? Created the most chances in the match. Well, to be fair, did something. Didn't give the ball away, so that's something. But he just successful dribbles, 3 out of 0. You should be good at dribbling, Jadon. That's your thing. Why are you not good at dribbling all of a sudden? It's a bit of a shame. 0 out of 2 crosses. Again, someone spoke about this earlier. The crosses are not just on the crosses, but also the crosses are sometimes on the crosses. And today, I mean, there was one that maybe a better striker does something with, but oh, bloody hell. 4 ground duels, none won. 3 aerial duels, none won. Okay, he created the most chances, but bloody hell, otherwise that was woeful. Absolutely woeful. Gets a 3.5 like Dewsbury Hall does. Pedro Neto. On the one hand, one of our worst players. On the other hand, at least one that tried. I'll give him that. There was this weird moment where he looked injured in the first half. Looked like without opposition contact, looked like he hurt his ankle, sat on the floor, hands up, signaled to the bench immediately, but then kept playing. And even after half-time, came back out and I think played the whole game. So didn't give the ball away. That's good in terms of 18 out of 18 passes, but 0 out of 2 dribbles, 0 out of 4 crosses, and his crosses were bloody terrible. And again, like Sancho, 0 out of 3 ground duels, 0 out of 1 aerial duel. Bloody hell. I'm giving them both a 3, actually. I changed my mind. I'm giving them both a 2. That's what I'm doing. Both a 2. That's what they deserve because they were so bad. Honestly, surprised that Nkunku didn't make a single misplaced pass, but there you go. Is what it is. 1 out of 3 ground duels, 2 out of 3 aerial duels. Not as bad as it could be, but you see that nothing. 1 attempted dribble, no attempted shot, no attempted anything. Just no attempted nothing. And it's just too poor at the moment. It's just too poor from all of these guys. And like I say, I'll give Sancho a 3. I'll give Neto a 3. And I'll give Nkunku a ghost because I almost feel like part of me is really angry at him. Part of him really can't stand him anymore. But part of me also feels really bad because I'm like, every blind idiot can see that guy is not a striker. Every idiot can see this guy's not a striker. Now, Maresca even used him as left centre attacking mid last game. It was equally as useless. And when he played right centre attacking mid in the Conference League behind Marguil against much lesser teams, he was still useless. And I know he had a lot more passes and touches than some of the others, but it's still just, can I give him a ghost, man? Also, a ghost feels too harsh. You'd give Neto a 5. Again, 0 duels. Yeah. He does try this. You know what? I'll give Neto 0.5 extra. I'll give Neto 0.5 more. And I'll give Nkunku also a 3. Could I give them all a 0 or a 1? Yeah, I probably could. But Nkunku, Sancho, Gusto, Neto, and Dewsbury Hall for me were worst players, including Cole Palmer as well. Because he just didn't do anything. Again, we had 0.63 XG throughout the whole game. You can also give him a 2, but again, it feels like I'm almost picking him out picking him out to pile on him, which isn't fair and also isn't the point either. I mean, we made 3 subs. Enzo Fernandez came on for Dewsbury Hall, Noni came on for Neto, and Tyreek George came on for Jadon Sancho. Let's quickly look at those, the stats of those, and then we finish it off by talking about Enzo Maresca in more detail again. Enzo, I mean, honestly, he was useless as well. Didn't add anything really coming off the bench. Didn't bring intensity. Sure, not bad passing accuracy and stuff. Had a shot. Honestly, I swear he shot it straight at the goalkeeper. So how can it? Like I swear he saved the goal, a shot, like forced a save. Sorry. So how can it not be an accurate shot on target? Don't get that. At least he had an accurate cross. No one else did. So that's something. 2 out of 3 long balls, decent. I won some ground duels, so that's decent. Yeah, honestly, I'm giving all the subs in NA 1 out of 4 passes, brilliant. 1 out of 0 dribbles, 0 out of 4 dribbles, 0 out of 4 long balls. Got absolutely pocketed by Tariq Lamptey. 1 out of 5 ground duels, absolutely muddied. And Tyreek George, I mean, the worst thing that he did was when that Palmer switched the ball to him, and he misjudged it so badly, like he was in set 8 maths every week. Like, how can you misjudge the ball that badly? But hey, unlike Noni, who had 1 out of 4 passes, at least Tyreek George is 6 out of 6, so that's something. But not a lot. No duels instead, though. Yeah, I'm keeping that very short and very sweet. He had the wild one. Yeah, true. He did have the wild one as well. Maybe the shot I'm thinking about wasn't actually from Enzo then, because otherwise it would have presumably said a second shot, wouldn't it? Because you're right, Joel. You're absolutely right. There you go. I hope I didn't miss any super chats while I wasn't here. Probably not. So there you go. Yeah, so Dewsbury replaced by Enzo. If I have to give him a rating, I'll give him a 5. Not bad, not good. Sancho was replaced by George. He gets an NA, I'll be honest. He gets an NA. And could I give him a rating? Maybe I could. Do I want to give Mudryk a rating? Yes, but no. I'll give him a skull because it was so bad. He wasn't on the pitch for very long, but it was so bad. I don't want to give him a poo emoji because that's too much for a sub player, for a substitute. But I can't even give him a ghost because I did see him. I did see him be terrible. I did see him be absolutely terrible. And now we need to get to the final conversation. Enzo Maresca. And I'll go through a couple of quotes that we saw post-match from Maresca as well, alongside the one that we already discussed, which was hugely shameful. Now, if we look at the team today, I would have played Enzo Fernandez instead of Dewsbury, but obviously we don't know the fitness situation. But, you know, we had a week off now. We'll have nearly a week off until the next game. I know he had a small, obviously, injury that obviously kept him out of one game against, I don't remember who it was against, but the game before City, wasn't it? And then he was back for City. The lineup itself is easy to criticize, but my big issue is just failing to get the intensity out of this team. Then in hindsight, making statements like, well, the good thing is we can focus on the Premier League Conference League now, which is, well, with that kind of mentality, I'm not surprised that the players didn't turn up and showed so little fight in this. I mean, it's just baffling how 2-3 months ago, we were such a good team. We were such a good team that passed and moved and ran and attacked and fought. Sure, we made mistakes and we didn't win every game that we should have won. Absolutely. And sensation, you're probably right. You probably should get a -5, but there you go. Jose was the only choice in the summer. Jose? I'm not sure what you're talking about, Tom Avery, but I love Jose, so I agree, I suppose. But yeah, with this mentality by Maresca, it's just poor. He makes the same changes every time. He never makes any tactical changes in games dramatically. Only off the ball, but on the ball, he never really changes anything. And when the opposition just put a lot of players behind the ball and just outnumber us, we just don't know what to do. We just don't know what to do. Yeah. Absolutely. No, it wasn't even out for a corner, but the shot wasn't counted. Maybe. We did go for a corner. And I swear it didn't. Maybe we're thinking about 2 different things. He did change things last Monday tactically, and it worked. Did he? How did he change it tactically? Or do you just mean by playing Cucurella left wing and having Nkunku come inside? Because, okay, that's a tactical change, but not really. It's just putting different players, but still in the same system. Like, okay, the midfield got shifted a bit because you didn't have Cucurella inverting into creating a left centre mid with a diamond midfield like we played against West Ham last week. but he doesn't make clear changes. Like, he doesn't bring an extra striker, or he doesn't. I'm not saying an extra striker solves the situation. That's not what I'm trying to say. But like, I need to see something, and you need to do something so dramatic that you also the team reacts and the team notices. Okay, the manager is doing something here. Ooh, I'm not sure about that. Did he put one more forward? I'm really not sure about that, because he brought on Nkunku for Sancho, and then had Cucurella playing left mid and Nkunku coming inside. He didn't bring on an extra attacker, did he? He just made Enzo drop deeper then, rather than Cucurella being deeper, right? Isn't that what happened? Maybe. Do you think we should sign Sancho permanently? Thankfully, this is not a conversation I need to have, because it's an obligation to buy. And unless we finish lower than 14th in the Premier League table, we will sign Jadon Sancho. Yeah. Get ready for company as the next manager if he gets the sack. But why would he get the sack? He's winning the league, So I doubt he's getting the sack anytime soon. I mean, he might do. And honestly, if he does, I wouldn't be surprised. Although I'm not sure if he'd take the job. I'm really not sure I'd take the job. Enzo Maresca, for today specifically, I would give him a 4, because I don't think today specifically is all on him. It's more, as of late, I'm losing faith in the guy. I really am, because we have full weeks of training every week. Not a single bit of improvement is happening. He's saying the weirdest things in the media, the weirdest quotes, left, right, center, whether it's post-match or pre-match, just weird quote, one weird quote after the other. And it's kind of a bit of a joke. And here he says things like, now he's praising Nico. And yeah, this is true. Of course, Nico deserves praise. And I think a lot of Nicholas Jackson haters will watch the game today and will maybe sit there. Oh, he might be shit in front of goal, but we still bloody need him. And this is what Maresca here says. Sometimes I think you need to play some games without players to realize how important they are. Off the ball, Nico's pressing is always very good. And on the ball, he's a threat always. Yeah, he is. And this is basically a direct dig at Christopher Nkunku, who, again, was playing a striker when we know he shouldn't be a striker, but we have only one backup. I mean, obviously, at the moment, we're a bit unfortunate. The fact that Jackson and Yu got injured in the same game is very unlucky. Like, you can talk about, we should have signed a striker or not, this and that. But obviously, you can't expect both of your strikers, your nominal strikers, to get injured in the same game. That is also unlucky. Like, let's be honest. We have to say that. But yeah, it's just, I'm losing faith, man. I'm losing faith. And I'm sure part of it is just, it's a bad run of the season. I'm still confident that we will come out of the bad run of the season at some point. And, if somebody asked me, like, if I had to choose a game between the cup game and the league game to lose against Brighton, if we win the other one, I'd have rather lost this one and won in the league. Not because I don't want to win the FA Cup, but because I'm realistic enough that I don't believe under this manager with this team, we beat any of the big teams. So it's all well and good if we had beaten Brighton today and we would be the next round. But if we play Liverpool, if we play Arsenal, if we play Man City, if we play whoever else is left, we're not beating them. So, yeah, from that perspective, I'd rather 3 points in the league. Atlantean says, we were not as good as people thought in autumn. We played games every 3 days, and we destroyed those farms in Europe, which kept our vibes up. And we got some luck in the Prem. Oh, but we also got very unlucky in the Prem. Like, come on now. I think, like, I understand what you're saying, but the revisionism doesn't need to go that far. Like, you can also go back to games and we were really unlucky in games and we could have won more than we did. Yeah, but there you go. I honestly think the way the club has been run with players, been treated as financial assets, that it affects the players' commitment to the club and our on-pitch performance. Yeah, I think that is a valid point as well. Absolutely. I'm not sure if this is something that happens so directly, so quickly. Maybe some of the players aren't happy with, Carney Chukwuemeka being shipped out, Joao Felix being shipped out, and not having signed a backup striker, still having to play with Robert Sanchez in goal. I don't know. Also, the whole Josh Achampong thing is weird. Starts 2 games in a row at centre-back, does really well at Palace, does not so well in the next game. Then we recall Chalobah, who plays left centre-back anyway, and Achampong is never to be seen again. Now, I know it also collided with Reece James' return from injury, and that meant, Achampong was then basically the backup to Gusto, but now Reece James was back, so now Gusto is the backup to Reece James again. So you probably kind of had to. I guess our French players don't like Maresca. I don't know, bro. I think that we're speculating a bit too much when we get to this far, but yeah, like I said, I am losing faith at the moment. I am losing faith. Now, ladies and gentlemen, and there's still 70 of you here, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, and please do check out mine and Pice's podcast. Now, we had technical difficulties this past week, and we decided rather than forcing out an episode that had terrible audio quality or re-recording something that we already spent an hour and a half recording and talking about, which would have just made it weird, we decided, okay, we'll skip that one. First week we've missed since starting our podcast back in September. It's called Chelsea Unfiltered. We upload every week, other than last week, every Tuesday on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. And there will be a new episode this coming Tuesday. We try, if the games allow us, to upload on midnight on Tuesday. So basically Monday night. We try to get it out if we can. Last week that wouldn't have happened because we played Monday night. So yeah, I will think about my thoughts. I'll think about my thoughts. Impressive, aren't I? I think about my thoughts a bit more between now and then. We'll see what Pice thinks as well. We'll go back and forth and we'll try to dissect this game, the situation in even more detail. So please do follow us on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, whichever platform you do listen to podcasts. Check it out, whether it's for your commute to work, your commute to school, commute to uni, just while, I don't know, you're doing the dishes, or I don't know, while you're driving in a car. Whatever you're doing, check out the podcast. I'm sure you'll enjoy it. I appreciate all of you guys that have tuned in today. I think he's probably not here anymore, but Mr. Elekan, you're my goat, right? You are my goat. Thank you so much for all these super chats. Also, Ricky, you're probably not here anymore, but I appreciate you as well. You started the super chats off tonight. Thank you very, very much. I appreciate you all. Joel, legend, have a good night. Thank you. Thank you, everybody that has tuned in. Like I say, subscribe. If you haven't done that already, that would be massively appreciated. But yeah, ladies and gentlemen, thank you guys for watching. Up to Chelsea. Upwards and onwards, downwards and backwards. And I will see you next time.